All right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Sunday, August 16th, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, or whatever time it happens to be where you are, because you are watching us right now. It is time for Master's Mind. And we are so glad to have you here with us. What a great way to either start the new week or end the previous week. Either way, we are going to get an incredible message that helps us to get things rolling and go to the next level. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce to you two people who are just incredible. They are the foundation of what we do here with Unlimited Wisdom. They are our GPS's to successes. They are our mentors. And of course, most importantly, they are our dear friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry and Robert Hollis.
Thank you, Craig, the hostess with the mostest. I love and appreciate you so much. And hello, everyone, for jumping on here. I see Matthew jumped on. I always think of Hannah and Ezra, of course, when my son jumps on. So hi, Dustin, Star, Shelley, Jim, Melody, Faith, Deborah, Wolfson. Welcome here. I've seen you on before, I believe. So thank you for joining. Michael and Angela, Jay, Deborah Bronner, Coach Bob, Deborah Grady, Lisa Marie, and Ben. Man, what a crowd. And thanks for jumping on here, Terry. And I'll tell you what, this subject that I'm going to talk about today, just so I'm probably making it too big, but it's just put on your seatbelt because I'm about ready to blow your mind. And the subject for today is heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Okay. So the reason that I had this sort of concept and sort of thought that really just challenged me is that, don't you think it's very interesting that, again, every one of you, if I told you or asked you, that'd be a better thing. If I asked you, please, to share with me a paragraph or a sentence, it could be a word. But if I asked you to define the word love, again, you'll see I always bring this home, because if you realize that every one of us has a different definition, if we were asked to explain the word love, that again, just based on us having, uniqueness, us being a miracle, us having different DNA, different fingerprints, different irises, different everything, right? So for all of us to be uniquely different, it really is interesting that people still try to describe or try to understand, lean not on your own understanding. They try to understand stuff like love, when everyone here has had a different experience of what love is. Do you guys follow me? So one of my favorite things I say all the time, and I got it on my wall, is anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. So again, if we use the word love, then if I asked everyone to explain, right? Explain or write a definition of God. Oh my Lord. It's like we all have these different definitions, and then we try to move through life trying to understand stuff when everyone that's talking about any one of these subjects is again reaching their definition, right? So where this all came about was, when people say heaven, it's really, when you think about heaven, for people that believe in heaven, first you got to believe in heaven. It would basically give us a hope that if we make it through this life, well, I guess no one makes it through this life. That's pretty funny. Is that we go to heaven, right? And based on how you were raised, I'm giggling as I'm saying this. If you look at what heaven is, I don't know where the thoughts got where, there's a bunch of angels up there that are playing harps in the cloud, right? And there's also some streets, and they're, now we know where the golden road came from, right? You know what I mean? Because there's golden roads up there. and everything's peaceful. And so when we talk about that, or someone tells us about that, if you've ever sort of seen it to best of your ability without seeing it through pictures, you did a word that we talk about all the time here, and that's called imagination, right? So if you're imagining heaven and someone tries to explain to you what they believe heaven is, the only way that you can really see it is through your imagination. Don't you find that interesting? But then what does God look like? Well, if you don't believe in him, he doesn't look like anything. But if you do believe in him, he doesn't look like anything. And I was going in my mind that I believe, now this is just thinking this way, right? So I heard one time, don't remember, I wish I could give credit. Charlie, thanks for jumping on here. I would like to give credit to this person, but I don't remember where I heard it. But one day, I heard an individual say that heaven and hell is between your ears. It's just 6 inches that is between your ears. I guess it's larger for some people. And it's like, it's these ideas, this imagination that we come up with. And again, people explain it. Okay, so it's like, oh, it's the devil. Oh, that's an imagination. Anyone sit down and explain that, And then all of a sudden you're in coals and and you're shoveling coals, I guess, to keep the fire going. I don't know where the extra coals and the wood comes from. And everyone's screaming and pitchfork. Thank you, Lisa Marie. It's like it's pretty interesting that someone tries to say to us what it is, and then we do our best to imagine it. So for those of you that meet people that really, really, truly believe in whatever they believe, you know why they can't explain it to you? Because there's no words to explain it. 0 words to explain it. So if any of you, I'm not saying you need to do this, but when I watched that podcast of the guy talking about doing DMT and going to a place that once he went there, he can't explain it in words, but he just knows that there's something more than him. Now, for someone that is wrapped around their ego and don't believe in something bigger than them, this could be very dramatic. You could tell when he was talking about it, the millisecond that he looked into the wall and could see nothing but digital codes with characters forever, and it's all moving like it is in Matrix. As he's staring at it, he said the first question that he had in his head was not a question. It was just a feeling. He looked in there and his body and his mind opened up, his heart and soul, his spirit opened up, and he just went. Are you guys hearing me? It's like, it's just, wow, I was wrong about everything. I was wrong about everything. Oh, really? So you believe there's something, he cut you off. So you think there's something bigger than just you? And he'll cut you off. Absolutely. If anyone does it, it's no doubt. Well, you know what people do after they experience something like that? They still doubt it. So what they do is they ask other people. And he was there, and people went before him, and he watches them look at this laser, and they see it. And he said not only could he see them see it through their emotions and their energy, but he said he could feel their energy shift. Have you, any of you, been around individuals where something happened and you immediately felt their energy shift? If you haven't, let me give you some examples. Have you ever seen a young child open up a gift they wanted? For the love of God, I mean that word. It's like in their mind, write down what you're going to give to Santa. Oh, I'm going to get this from Santa. Corky's here. You know, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. Maybe they even go through the imagination of sitting on Santa's lap, telling Santa what's going on. And then all of a sudden they see the gifts go under the tree. Where's their imagination? This guy showed up, came down the chimney we don't have. You know, he ate some of the cookies, drank the milk, and he left some gifts here from his sleigh and ran off. You know, the res-nosed raisin here. Sorry, Matt. Now this will be stuck in my mind forever, right? But there's a saying that there's more joy in giving than receiving.
And then he opens up a shirt and he's pissed.
And he opens up the box and it's a shirt. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well,
the energy change. He's excited. Opens up the shirt. What the hell?
Yeah. You're also feeling the energy in that situation. So thanks for bringing that up. And so if you've seen people that do feel this or do see this, and it hits you, and you sort of are like, I don't know why I'm bothered by that. You know, one of the ones that I see all the time is when, kids that are older, I would say that they're maybe 7, 8, I guess all the way up to being adults, is that, when a person and I give them all the gratification in the world, people that have served in our service, and then all of a sudden they're at school or graduation, and then all of a sudden, their family member comes home from the service and they hadn't seen him in a while. And you see that reunion, you know what I mean? And you're just like, man, it's like these things that constantly get us, and we see that emotion and we feel that emotion. So going back to that thing, now this guy is everywhere telling everyone this is DMT experience and seeing these, letters. And again, if Craig posted the podcast, you guys can watch it or not. But that's what got me on the subject, because I'm watching a guy that's a confessed atheist get flipped on a dime, telling the world about his DMT experience, and he just doesn't have any words to explain it. Are you guys knowing where I'm going now? So if someone hears the story, he didn't just show up there and come up with it. No, someone else told him the stories, or he's seen the video of this guy doing this. And he went, no way. I'm calling, if you listen to the story, he said, I called the guy right away. Are you flying to me or am I flying to you? I'm paying for the ticket. I want to see this. I want to experience this. You guys follow me so far, right? So when people can't explain their experience with words, are you guys following me now? So what if a person heard story after story after story after story about this guy getting crucified and dying, and then 3 days later he's brought back to life, and now that's the person that certain religions believe in, called Jesus Christ. And people tell him in the story that he died for our sins so that we don't have to go through that. And so someone's good at telling the story, or you've heard it multiple times, and then all they said is, hey, all you got to do is believe in the story and pray and ask Jesus to come into your heart, and you will be saved. And some people believe that and do that, and feel the experience that words can't explain. So now they run around, they're like, I believe in Jesus, I've been saved. And what are the other people thinking? They're thinking the same thing the guy said. Listen, you look in this laser and you see a bunch of digital signals. And I can't explain it in words. So then when other people say I can't explain it, I just know that I felt something and I know that I'm saved. Then what does that do to people that are non-believers? They start asking you questions about your logical mind. Well, I don't believe that if you do DMT that you're going to see these digital things. There's really only one thing that you could do to prove it or disprove it, right? Are you guys following me? So some beliefs believe in, that you sprinkle waters on babies. So they again, catechism, there's christening, depending on, then there's like baptism, right? Some people go, I got to get baptized. Well, why do they want to get baptized? A story. So there was a story that John the Baptist, that when Jesus went from a carpenter to being a teacher, that he ran into John the Baptist and he baptized him. And as soon as he did, the Holy Spirit came over him. And that now allowed him to be a teacher and to basically communicate to people through the Spirit from direct messages from his Father. Some people call that the Holy Spirit. Now, there's a lot of people out there that have been baptized with the Holy Spirit, and they know that they know that they know. And then there's a larger group of people that are going, whack jobs. Terry and I have been in a lot of different kind of churches. And you're like, all of a sudden people are, all of a sudden people are jumping around, throwing their arms in the air, and then a guy comes out and throws his jacket and hits a guy and he falls over, and you're just like,
this is a crazy movie.
For those that don't believe, what does that look like?
A crazy movie.
What does that look like? If you're an atheist, you know that you don't know, right? And then you see some of the things that people of different religions do. See, me and Craig get the joke all the time because he knows that I joke just as much about organized religion as I do about his organized religion. So I'm like, I see stuff, and then I say to Craig, listen, there's not a bunch of guys that stand up in front of people at the temple and whip out this horn from an animal and just start going. And he's going, they certainly do. See, I hope you guys get that I'm not laughing at something. I'm laughing with you. Because people that don't believe in certain things look at other people that don't believe and just go, wow, there's a couple of screws loose. The elevator doesn't go to the top floor. There's a couple of cards missing in the deck. What's all the same? Right? So now that I did that, and I hope that this was fun, right, so far. So here's the next thing. Why is your belief in whatever you believe, I'm going to say this word on Sunday. It's like, why is it so fucking serious? Okay? Because I've heard that God's got a sense of humor. Now, for those of you, I can tell you really quickly what I believe God is. God is just the 70 to 80% of all the stuff that holds everything in the universe together that no one knows what it is and doesn't understand it. For me, when I see dark energy, see, I would call it light energy. Isn't that interesting? So when people can't explain light energy or light matter, it's all the stuff that's in everything that holds everything together. And I recently, Craig shared a video with me about, and Craig, you can share it with Tyson, you know, but
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah.
yeah, he was just basically going through how he, finds out whether something is true or not. I just thought it was really, really powerful. It's a short video, but it's like, how many of you go, you shouldn't probably listen to someone's opinion based on them being biased. And when I see people, there was something that he said that's along the lines that we're talking about today. When you see someone's opinion against something, it's not only opinion, but it's biased. And he's going, that's a red flag. If you got someone that's giving you an opinion against something, not for something, against something, and it's their opinion and they're biased and they hate it, they're probably going to be a little off on the things that they say about that. So like I've said before, I like people that are neutral. I've never tried to convert Craig into being a Christian. Why? Because my definition of Christian, I can guarantee you, is different than every one of yours. Because it's just like love, right? So now let's go back to the subject. I believe, and I like living this way, is my beliefs are fun. My beliefs are fun. Why? Because I believe that my God is fun. I believe that Jesus is fun. I really believe that he looks at me all while I'm doing things, and he's doing nothing but laughing at me trying to understand things. Because when you love someone unconditionally, you look at them and watch them try to figure out stuff, and you sort of just giggle. You sort of just giggle while, they're trying to open a door, open up a cabinet, or they're trying to figure out how to, to walk. They say things like, ran off the Resno's knees near.
Which is perfect.
Which is perfect. You see what I mean? Because when Matt was saying it, we were saying to people, and we look at Matt and go, what movie are we watching tonight? And he was all excited. We're watching Ran Off the Resno's knees near. You know what I mean? That was an experience that we had with Matt. That was an experience that I can guarantee you will never be as exciting and full of love and fun, joy. That experience will never be the same for you guys as it was for Terry and I.
And he also would sing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
Just
loved it. Loved that song.
And how old was he?
Little. He was just little.
Really little.
We both love music, me and Matt. So
yeah. I mean, Matt was so young. He was. And he was small as a child. So it's like you looked at him and you're going, "There's no way he could sing this song." He looked like he was too small to sing that song. He
was smart when he was.
And so those are experiences. Now getting to the subject. Why did I set it up with we have different definitions? Right? We have different definitions. It's supposed to be fun. Most of the people that I know believe that religion is not fun. There's nothing fun about it.
Gotta get up early.
Yeah. You gotta listen to someone different, right? So now let's talk about heaven on earth. Heaven on earth for me, if the definition of heaven is these experiences that I have that end up being memories for me that make me like cry with joy. It fills me with love. And for some people that would like a little different, it's when I know that I'm in the presence of that higher power. Did you guys hear that? And some people get it through all kinds of ways. I've seen people get it when they're singing. So you watch some people, like I said, that sing, and then other people that sing that just seem to find a different connection. And everyone in the room is like, what's going on with me right now? What the heck is going on? See, that, like the soul, if you've ever watched Soul,
Oh, we should watch that again.
it wasn't, huh?
I said we should watch that again. It's so
Yeah, it's when you discover that it's coming from your soul and your spirit, and it's not coming from your head. And so people experience these things, and when they experience them, like watching somebody else energy change, right? So we've seen this with people playing music or singing or people worshiping. Why does the video always go viral of the little kid that's on stage that just seems to be connected before every other kid? Do you know which ones I'm talking about? Where you got all the kids are doing their deal, and then you got the one little girl or little boy that are like, I mean, their body's in action, they're dancing, they're screaming to the top of their lungs. It's like, wait, this kid's connected, but the rest are not connected in that same way. And those videos go viral, don't they? Have you guys ever seen, I love the videos that are going out now, when a kid, you can actually see them stressing out. And they're on stage and they're like a laser beam. And they're looking through the crowd.
Where's my mom?
And then as soon as they see their mom or their dad or someone that proud of, they're like, whoop, that I'm okay now. I'm safe now. I'm all right. There's someone here to protect me. There's someone here to love me. There's someone here. You guys understanding what I'm saying right now? Is this clicking? So we get to see people have these events in their life, and then it's like, how do I get those moments? Right? So, I looked up some stuff, and I just thought, what are some experiences in your life? Like, say, I asked you, right? And you felt comfortable in sharing. But it's like, what's one moment in your life that just was like the highest of the highest? See, for me, because of my childhood, I helped a couple of guys and they took me as a very young kid. I bet you if I was 12, 11, and I got in the vehicles with them, they were my cousins, and we went to a drag strip. And I watched these people race their cars, and there was something that really crazy happened afterwards. After they came back and they got this little piece of paper with their times on it, they would pull into the pits, and all these people were like screaming, and they were getting high fives, and him or her were taking their helmet off, and everyone was talking. And every time the winner came back, I seen this. And then after the races were over, they started handing out trophies and started handing out checks. And my mind went, so you get one of those checks and trophies just building a car that can beat the other guy? Yep. So me, I got all of my heaven on earth away from all the awfulness on earth of me creating and building a bicycle or building a go-kart or rebuilding a snowmobile. And then I would use those things. And, I lived in a really poor area. And everyone would go sliding on this hill. We called it Golf Course Hill. And I mean, it was a long hill. It was easily over a mile long. I'd say it was like a mile and a half. So when you came off the top of it, you would slide for a mile and a half. Well, there's only one thing exciting about that is going on the ride. But then the part that's not exciting is pulling your sled back up the hill. So I found this old German motor snowmobile. It was called a Wild One, and I made it work. I made it run again. And so I would I would turn it around. It was just this huge track. It was just really probably used as a snowmobile for hauling stuff in the snow, not really for any kind of pleasure, right? And it just had so much torque that all the kids would grab onto each other's slides. So a couple of kids would grab on the back of the snowmobile, and then the other people would grab on the back of their slide, and I'd pull all the kids all the way to the top of the hill. I was younger than most of them. So this is part of contribution, right? Where you start doing things to serve other people. And I love doing that. I love fixing people's bikes. I love fixing people's go-karts. I got a big kick out of it. Didn't learn till later in life that I think it was Jim Rohn. In fact, I know it was Jim Rohn that said that someone just said, instead of just building a bike for you, why not build more than one bike and always rent it out? And so kids that couldn't afford bikes or their parents couldn't, I would fix up bikes and I would let them, ride the bike. You know what I mean? And, I don't know if I don't ever remember ever charging for it. So I probably still have the same problem that I have today. So Terry and Matt will make sure I get the money. But but I look back at me being in two places in my life. One, well, let me say three. One part of my life, is neutral. And I don't like neutral. Neutral makes me uneasy. So for me to watch UFC fights, for me to watch NASCAR, for me to watch anything where I see people doing the best to inspire to be the best, to win something, to experience other things that people don't, that's what I'm addicted to. I'm not a neutral person. I love watching stuff that probably seems very boring for other people, but what I'm looking for is people doing something that the only 0.01% of people can do in the world. And I love watching them. You guys have heard me over and over talk about this guy named Kyle Larson. Well, he raced in a race yesterday and he won it. And then it showed him as soon as he got done with the flag, he waved at everybody, dropped the flag and took off running. Runs the length of the deal, jumps in his helicopter. His helicopter takes him to his plane. He goes to Knoxville, jumps into a sprint car and races the sprint car and won that race too. And they're just going like,
he's a badass.
He's just going to track to track to track to track.
Get it, man.
And he's making a lot of money, but everyone that knows him knows that he just loves to win. He doesn't know it. And he's the same guy that you don't hear him talking when he doesn't win. He's like Kyle Busch, or Kyle Busch was. You'd interview Kyle Busch afterwards and go, wow, you took second place. And yeah, everyone looked at it like a complainer. But no, if he didn't win the race, he's not happy. I don't know if that's
Shouldn't be.
I don't know if that would be heaven on earth, but getting back to the whole concept of heaven on earth, I really thought about this, and it's like, so me having, yeah, so neutral, and then there's a lot of us that experience bad days, bad moments, bad days, bad weeks, bad months, bad years, followed by another bad year, followed by another bad year, followed by a decade of bad, right? And then you got these other people that it just seems like every day is a gift. Again, like Craig talks about all the time. You got the past, you got the future, and then you got the present, and the present's the gift, right? And so people that can live in the moment of finding a way to constantly live in a place of peace and joy and happiness and love and contribution. People that do that, I say, is heaven on earth. You just go from victory to victory to victory to victory. And I would rather be in that mindset. And sometimes I've been around people that, they believe that I'm too far in that space. But I'm the one that's experiencing this. So let me give you some neat little things about this. So I have all these things that I've been blessed to have. I've been very fortunate in my life and very blessed. But every one of these things is the things that other people don't want to do, that they're scared to do, I'm okay with doing because I plugged in my imagination of walking across the stage and getting one of these things. See, everyone that I know is capable of just talking to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, doing your best to put a smile on their face, always giving to them, always finding a way to keep giving, 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 giving. Oh, that keeps you in a state of heaven on earth because you're doing contributions. And do I doubt if it's working? Yeah, I used to until I start constantly connecting with people, and then they send me messages. Hey, I don't know if I ever shared this with you or not, but I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for you being a part of my life and steering me in the right direction. So now I get a lot of road signs. You know what I mean? A lot of things that all the seeds that I planted over the years. So I know that I have free will. So if I believe that God created me and I also have free will, that gives me the choice. So now I can decide on what state of mind I want to be in. And then all this science came out and said, do you know your mind does not know the difference between real and fake? So why don't you just imagine? Why not just use words and affirmations? Why not just put yourself in a state because your mind doesn't know whether it's real or not? Has anybody ever heard of this stuff? Law of attraction. Constantly putting yourself in a state of mind of imagination if it's already happened. See, some people don't like the word faith, so they came up with another word called law of attraction. And then someone like Rhonda Byrne, she can grab the book, the greatest the science of getting rich, and then she can call it The Secret, and she can make $400 million. When everyone that hears her talk or watched the movie Secret, they're going, oh my God, they just did a bunch of testimonials out of a book. Well, you didn't think about it.
I didn't think about Barney either.
Barney. Yeah. So my point, and I know, that was a great point that you just brought up, because there's so many great points, is that people know that you can put your child, when Terry and I see Matthew and he has Ezra on there, sometimes he's looking for us, and then sometimes he's ignoring us. And we see him so glued on, we say to Matt, what is he watching? And he's watching what?
Miss Rachel.
He's watching Miss Rachel. Well, that could have been, in your day, Coach Bob, that could have been Mr. Rogers.
Or Sesame Street.
Or Sesame Street.
That's been around forever.
You know what I mean? Or Tom and Jerry. You know what I mean? Or Winnie the Pooh. Peanuts. You know what I mean? It's like all of these. So it is interesting that I found this out when I first understood YouTube, that every time that you seen the top channels for YouTube and the people that are making the most money, there was this woman that all she did was unwrap Disney toys. You never seen her face. You just heard her voice. And she's going, oh, today, guess what I got in the mail? Disney sent me this toy. And it'd be a couple of characters in it. And she would open it up, cut it with the knife and open it up, and then pull the characters out and then move the packaging. And that channel, people said that you would put children in front of that did not know how to speak yet or read. And her opening up that colorful packaging and then pulling out the characters and watching her talk about the characters, that it would just glue them. Just toddlers were just glued to it. And a lot of people said that it was her voice as well. But to make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So then what she did is Disney found out about it and would send her the toys first off the manufacturers. She gets the first toys from Disney. And then she would have a link below where she says you can get it and get on the wish list early and be one of the first people to get it out by clicking the link below. Is that crazy? But the kids would watch that and just be
mesmerized.
And heaven on earth. So think about the experiences that you had. And see, again, the experiences that you had are very unique to you. Can you guys think, people say, when I met the love of my life, or, when I got married, or when I had a child, right? There's all these things that could be over and over and over. It's like, for me, watching Terry win and watching my kids win. It's really big to me. It really, really is, and you hear this stuff about, well, you'll feel different about your children than you feel about your grandkids. You know what I mean? And some people go, I don't feel any different. And then Terry and I laugh all the time when we hear about new moms that, are, they would rather be anywhere and have me time than be anywhere around their kids. You know what I mean? But again, do we have the ability to change our state of mind? I say yes. And so when you think about heaven on earth, maybe you can keep doing the stuff that you need to do. Terry and I, as you guys know, Shelly's on here somewhere maybe, but we talk about watching Sunday morning. There's always this positive thing. And so the Eagles right now, the band, the Eagles are decided to sign another year at the Sphere.
I need to go. I need to go.
We do. Let's just
go.
Let's just go. Let's just go, right? And so their album, Eagles' Greatest Hits, just surpassed every album on the planet. It went to, I think they called it Quad Diamond, which is like crazy. And so when they're talking to one of the band members, was it Henley that was talking? So they're talking to him afterwards, right? And he goes, they go, well, congratulations on your record of having the most sold album of any album. And he goes, you want to hear a funny story behind that? And they go, yeah. And he goes, they called it the greatest hits. He goes, there's half the songs on that album never even hit the top 10. It should have been called the favorites. These are the favorites of all the people that follow us that are fans. And he goes, all of us did not want to do that album. We hated the thought of it. We didn't want anything to do with it. Greatest hits. This is something that you do when your band no longer can play. You know what I mean? He said, all of us argued about it, but we were held to a contract that the album company had. And we didn't want to do a new album. And they're going, well, you're launching one anyway. So if you're not going to do new music, then we're going to do a greatest hits one. And it ends up to be the best album they ever had. See, that's what I think is really amazing when you see this stuff. I call that sometimes the biggest achievements of people are stuff that didn't start out as achievements, right? So then they said the classic thing. So he brought it up that it all was sort of, stuff that they didn't want to do. So then the interviewer followed up with, so are there times that you don't want to go out and sing
The same
the same songs? And he's going, all the time.
every day.
All the time. And he goes, really? And then you watch this. So you can change your state of mind? As soon as he said that, the next line came behind it. And he says, we go out there for the people. He goes, because when you go out and start playing those songs that are the fans' favorites and an experience of the sphere that no one's been in, when I see and feel the experience they're happening, I'll show up all the time. But see, if you think about you, it's like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. Right? So a lot of times for me is when I'm worshiping, or when I'm praying, or when I'm in meditation, there could be a lot of those things that I just could not do, that in my mind I could say I can put off. But for me, when I make the decision and get in the state of mind to do those things, and I do them with obedience and discipline, then it turns into me feeling the presence. How many of you, if there was a feeling like this, how many of you would like to not only get in it, but how many of you would like to stay in it? So see, first you got to believe that you can be in that presence of a higher power. Have any of you ever been in the presence of a higher power?
I would say no.
So if I explain to you what that might be, instead of you trying to confuse it with religion and God and heaven and all these things that you hate, what if there was actually things that you can think of, like when you do get to hold Ezra?
Yeah.
See, I don't want to ruin it for you that it's connected to God or heaven or something like that. It's just you get to call it anything you want. And for those of you that when you hear me talk to Terry directly like this, and sometimes me and Matt have this conversation, it's when I have the conversations like that with Terry, is Terry looks at the world of organized religion and the people in it,
As a cult.
and just it's okay for me to say this for you. She looks at the people that are fake, that are judgmental, that are really some of the worst freaking people on the planet.
Yeah, hypocritical.
But they're the first ones to tell you I'm a Christian.
I'm out.
See what I mean? So when you have someone that's constantly talking about God and Jesus in their life, but then they don't act like that, that's why she hates it. She hates the people that represent organized religion. And I don't know if I've ever, but that's what you hate. Yeah. It's like, so Terry doesn't hate Georgia. She just ran into a lot of people while she lived in Georgia that were not nice people, right? They were racist. They were ignorant. They were stupid. They're driving around with stuff on their vehicles that I don't think should be on there. I don't even mind sharing one of my statements. Is like I had a group of there was probably like 20 people in this room, and it was at a country club. Okay, got this? So old Georgia people and people that are their kids, right? And after I got done presenting whatever I was doing at the time, whatever company I was representing, an old guy out of nowhere just said to me, he goes, where are you originally from? Where's that accent from? And I said, I'm from North Dakota. And with that group of guys there, he said, if it wasn't for you fucking Yankees, those N-words would still be in chains. And I'm going, ignorance is one thing, but hatred and saying that statement. So I wasn't as mature as I am now. But everyone was like, how is he going to respond to this? And Mike Hickman was going, uh-oh. And I go, I bet you don't have a lot of friends being filled with hate as much as you are. What a piece of shit you must be. And one of the people where you say something that shatters them, so they do one of these. They're like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then they do noises and mumbling that no one understands, but they're not looking at you directly in the eyes to come back with a comeback.
It's called recalibrating.
Hey, that great word where you just...
It's like a robot. It's like, I can't, wait a minute.
They don't know how to handle a comeback or a response coming back to them that shatters them. You know what I mean? It's just...
Well, and that's the easiest way to do it, too, in my experience, right? Like, I've played video games online my entire life, so you end up dealing with a lot of really racist bullies and all different kinds of people, right? And I've ran big guilds. This shouldn't surprise anybody because of just the way I am, but when I was playing World of Warcraft, I had a guild of it's probably like over 100 people, and I was the guild master, which means I ran the guild and ran the raids and everything like that. Right? Like I've always loved being in that leader position, but to be in the leader position means you have to deal with people. So I remember being 16, 17 years old, dealing with like 35, 40-year-old racists and stuff, right? Like they'd lose a piece of gear and just go off on somebody or do whatever, right? In the game. And it's the easiest way always, in my opinion, is to just ask them to, one of two things. Ask them to explain what they meant. Right? Be like, this is the super easy one. And it's embarrassing as fuck when they're in public. It's so embarrassing. But go, man, what did you mean by that? I don't quite get what you were trying to say. And then now they have to think about what they said because it came out verbally. And when they have to think about the rancid shit that they just said and they have to describe why they feel that way, you're going to get people that totally will.
Yeah.
And then you do the second aspect, which is Really sorry you feel that way. To be honest with you, you're quite toxic, and we don't want you to be part of this group anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and kick you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I could tell you the amount of whispers, which is like private messages that I would get from these people after I would get rid of them. But it's like, and all kinds of stuff. I'll kill you, your whole fam, all different kinds of stuff, right? and it's the internet, so you just get used to it, right?
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, well, a lot of these people have to. Yeah, exactly what Deborah said. Rotten apples do spoil. It's like mold.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the thing is, when you're a leader or when you're the owner of a group of people, we'll talk about this with Unlimited Wisdom. You guys already heard me say this when we first started it. I'm very quick to eliminate people like this, especially in my life now.
Yeah.
Because I realistically, like the mold corroding the entire group is one thing, but and this is how it happens in every power structure imaginable. You wonder how a lot of people allow someone like Harvey Weinstein to exist. It's because the leadership does nothing about it and doesn't do what they should, right? Mm-hmm. Which is not just get rid of the person, right? But call them out in a public way and make a statement that this is not allowed. You know what I mean? Yep. And if you don't do that, then you just become like the Catholic Church. You're just like moving priests around. You know what I mean? And truthfully, like I think the easiest way to do it is just to get rid of it, cut it out like a cancer. You know what I mean? A tumor, and just get rid of it. And the thing is like those people too, they could yell at a wall for hours after those things happen, but then they have to sit and stew in their decisions, and they hate that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good one.
Sorry, we all make decisions. If you go into a spot and people are like, you can't say anything anymore. If you go into a spot and say some racist shit or say some sexist shit or some bigot stuff, like, and they go, get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. Hello, here comes what happens when you make decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, getting banned from things or people not wanting to be around you anymore. It's exactly that. So.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways I've dealt with this, and I'm going to deal with it more, no doubt, because like I think that the difficulty in today's day and age is it's always going to be easier to bitch and complain or be upset than it is to solve a problem. And I think like that's the fun part is like I tend to get in a bunch of groups lately that just like bitch and complain about a problem. And I'm like, here's the solution. Like, let's do the solution.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, some of them love that and some of them hate that. They act like you're the devil in a sense because it's like, well, no, we actually just wanted a group that could bitch and complain. We didn't actually want to solve it.
Matt, when I was going through all the stuff preparing to talk about this message, you know, I asked, you know, ChatGPT and a lot of different things I asked about, you know, what are these moments that people have? And for you, me, knowing you know, your whole entire life, it's this constant struggle of one of the top things is people constantly experiencing things that they have in their imagination, but then they created them for other people to see. And, you know, whenever you talk about your favorite directors or your favorite, you know, actors or your favorite screenplay writers, your favorite, you know, authors that write books, it's it's this constant being aware that when you're in the flow and you're in the creation spot, that as you're creating stuff, and then other people see it, the problem is we're more addicted to the creation part of it than people actually experiencing it. Because of course you surround yourself with a lot of yes people. I mean, what could Matt right now?
It's easier. It's easier the more you go along, right? And like that's the age old thing too. Is it's like you wanna try to not be the best around at what you do. If you do that for too long, you do become an echo chamber. And when you do that, like, I heard you guys talking about the Eagles, and we were driving went to the beach yesterday, so we were listening to the Eagles, and the Eagles are awesome, of
Oh,
course.
wow.
But I hope I don't offend anybody with this, but I'm not a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, and that it just kept
Same.
coming up, right?
Same.
And so for me, it's interesting how the universe works. So not only do I feel like Red Hot Chili Peppers came on in the selection of music and the drive more than they ever have, but then we got to the beach, and we're finally sitting down on the beach, and I turn around, and there's this woman with this big Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt on. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like,
to me,
it's always one of those
I-
reactions of like, this may have bothered you, but it's a joke. It's not
Yeah.
serious.
See,
It's
for
meant
me,
to be fun, you know?
one of
So.
the characters, I
I do have to go, you guys. I have a meeting.
Okay.
So love
Love
and
ya.
appreciate all you guys. You guys are amazing. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Thank you so much, Dad.
Thank you.
Mom.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, like and to close this up, because I brought up a number of things, heaven on earth. I talking about why do our what we believe in, why does it have to be so serious? Why can't it be fun? All right. And my mentor, and I've shared this with Craig and a lot of people, and I even did it for a while where we did seminars called life mechanics seminars, and I would dress up as characters because you can really get a point across to people. Melody's been at them, of course, Terry's been at them, Matt, Craig. And when you do a character, it really allows you to basically, people look at characters. It's like, why does, Family Guy, or I'm trying to think The Simpsons, I don't remember all of them, even though I don't watch them. They're the longest running shows of all time because you can get across a point doing it through cartoon characters more than you can do with a person. And so my mentor did this character all the time, and he would come out as a golfer. And when he came out as a golfer, he basically said that for those of you that have played golf, you get this right away. But he came out and said, that he believes God created golf. And the reason why is because people that have big egos immediately get that ego corrected over and over and over again. So you get a group of people and you're pretty good at whatever you do. And then all of a sudden you hit a ball and it ends up going in the wrong place. And you see people, breaking their clubs or throwing them in the water, and of course, what was the two movies that Adam Sandler did?
Oh God, where's Matt?
Yeah.
Come on, Craig. Dang it.
Coach Bob's going to beat us. He's got it. If he would have typed it already, or Happy Gilmore. Okay. See, I seen Coach Bob chewing, and if he would just stop chewing, he could have wrote it right away. But he would. He's eating French fries. It's like, hey, that joke was for me, by the way. It's like, can you do this and chew gum at the same time? But it was like, so then what he would do is he would get a golf ball and he'd act like he was going to drive it into the audience. And of course, when he hit it, it just turned into powder, right? And he's just going, if you just really, really think about this, because there's parts that people talk about in their beliefs, and I just go, no. I've shared this one with you guys before, that I'm sitting down, I'm 20 years old, and I have this guy that's a priest or whatever he is of the Lutheran religion, and he's basically telling me if my son doesn't get water sprinkled on him and go through this ceremony, that he could possibly end up in purgatory or this place between heaven and earth, because if he died before he really understood who Jesus was in original sin. It's like, don't you guys still hear stuff where you just go,
knock it off.
God, that is just like stupid.
Stop it.
But here's a couple of other things that I might say to you guys that might shake you. I wanted to, really get in your head and your heart and your soul and your spirit before I left. So there's these people in the world, and that I would tell them, Craig, to go back to who told you that, where, it is, there's people right now that say out of their mouth and they believe that they're actually having a war with the devil every day. They call it spiritual warfare. And I'm going like, I'll be bold. That's not fucking true. Someone told you something that's not true. Are you hearing me? So you're not fighting battles and you're not being attacked. Can you imagine going through life going, well, and their life sucks.
They're attacking.
Their life sucks. Everything is going bad for them, and they're going, well, I'm being attacked by the devil. I'm going through spiritual warfare right now, and I'm going like, can you shut up? But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. See, they're not living heaven on earth. They're living hell on earth. Are you guys listening to me? They're creating that thing in their mind. The other thing that people say, well, God's testing me. And I just happen to fail every freaking test. It's like, what? So if you truly believe that the art of imagination can constantly put you, now do you have to practice this? Yes, you do. But if you can start from the moment that you wake up with gratitude and wow, another day. The one thing that we didn't talk about, think about all the things that make you feel like you're just escaping neutral or bad. Have any of you just been in nature? And it's like no one else is around and you're looking around, you're looking at nature and you're just going,
oh my God, there's a deer. How great is that?
yeah. We seen a bunny today. We see bunnies all the time. We see bald eagles all the time.
Snake now and again.
Yeah, we got so many bald eagles that are in a big tree not too far from our property. And it's like they're in a tree and below them is you can't even count the amount of gophers. And I'm thinking,
adorable.
I'm thinking as an eagle, a bald eagle, what a place to build your home. Get up, stretch, look down. There's breakfast, dinner, supper. There's like a lot of them, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like
What is going on, Coach Bob?
buddies. Yeah. All right. But how many of you have been in just unbelievable nature and just go, man, see some people feel that, gratitude, walking to nature, getting grounded. Man, for me, I still can't tell you the experience I have around water. Water just seems to just like, okay, forget everything, including your ego. Every time we go to California and we go to the ocean and you just sit there and just go, man, how insignificant I am. It's crazy.
You shouldn't have worn that.
Yeah, I like that she wore that. No.
A little more cover up.
Yeah.
A little more cover up.
So think of those moments, and then through imagination, can you create more of those moments in your day every day? For me, serving others, the way to greatness is the service of many. I love giving to people. I love giving to charity. That's what keeps me in that constant place of heaven on earth is contribution to others. It's when I'm doing that, I know I'm planting seeds. I believe in a harvest. I always get a harvest. The harvest is larger than average people's harvest. And so I believe in this, and I will continue to do that. And so I know I was probably a little all over the place, but when you sit there and you think about the places that you've been in where, it's like, listen, I'm happy or I'm happy in moments, like I want to be happy. They're just moments. But if you can constantly find ways to plug yourself into, where you know that you're in the presence. I'd rather you be in neutral than having bad thoughts and living in hell. But how many people do you think that I could have this conversation with is go, okay, you got three things. You can pick hell, or you can pick neutral, or you can pick heaven. And first you need to come up with your definitions of those words, because when I'm in the presence and I feel loved, Matt created that picture of Jesus hugging me from my description. So when I'm praying, I feel his arms around me. And then other people go, that stuff you talk about is fucking stupid. And I'm going like, I don't expect them to understand it. I feel really sad for people that they not only don't believe that they have the ability to put themselves in a place and feel the presence of just whatever you want to call that. See, so Terry can say whatever she says, but I've seen her experience things where I call that heaven on earth, and she doesn't even have to believe in it. Does that make sense? So when I watch her go through states in her life, it's like, that's why I'll say, listen, I need to book a trip and you need to go spend time with Ezra. Now, does she love helping Hannah and helping Matt? She does. But one of the unique
language.
Yeah, but what's one of the things that a lot of people don't know about Hannah is Hannah doesn't have a mother. This is her mother.
She got a good one now.
So, she's Matt's mom, she's Hannah's mom, and she's Ezra's, grandma. So she not only loves being there, but they love having her there.
We all gel so great together. Just fit like a fucking puzzle.
So what are those things for you? So I'm done. Needs to be fun. Start imagining. Oh, there was one thought that I had that I'll leave you guys with. The song, and you can find it in my playlist, my worship playlist, is the song I Can Only Imagine. Okay. So if you listen to that song, I love worshiping, not being interrupted, not having things that will grab my attention or whatever. But you listen to that song, it's like, there's some people that don't believe or disbelieve. And then there's people like me that I imagine what it's going to be like to be face to face, right? To actually hug Jesus, right? And so I think it's very, very interesting, because here's a call out to all those people out there that are non-believers. If you have a person like me, and you know the way I said I feel, and the way I imagine, and there's like nothing that you can do to get me not only not to change my mind, but stop me from being in the presence more than ever. The one thing that I push forward, my post today, is exactly that, is to be more in the presence of that higher power than when I'm not. And here's the thing that I thought, what's the only thing that a non-believer can say to me? Which is hilarious. This is the only thing I could think that an atheist or an agnostic person could say to me, or maybe another person from a different spiritual belief. It's like, well, when you die, what if that doesn't happen? What if, like, nothing happens? Well, I still experienced heaven on earth the entire time I was alive, and you didn't. I imagined it. I created it. I did exactly what the law of attraction said. I attracted stuff to me. I look at my life that I've had and the things that I've experienced. A majority of the people, 99.5% of the people, the things that I've experienced in life, they'll never, ever, ever, ever see. They'll never experience it. They're not even going to be close. So people can laugh at me all they want while I keep just pretending that I have this friend that's better than yours and the imagination of hanging around with them all day. And you can just keep telling people that you don't believe in that imaginary friend. So then you don't spend any time with them. And then you don't have any control of your emotions or what happens in your life. I mean, what else can a non-believer say to me? It's interesting, isn't it? So I'll leave that with you. So you got anything to add?
Nope.
Perfect. So I love and appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for staying on, for those that stayed on a while. Any of you that would like to talk more about this subject, reach out to me. That's why I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Don't forget to be involved in Unlimited Wisdom if you're seeing this from someone that shared it. But I think the title, Heaven on Earth, it will be a really good, people are like, what is this about? You know what I mean? And I can follow that up with, hey, lean not on your own understanding. Everything that I shared with you here today was things that I just prayed about and thought about. And do I know that I know that I know? I do for me. I do for me. I think that you should figure out what it means for you. Right? So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kathleen, Dustin, Melody, Deborah, Jim, Coach Bob, Deborah Bronner, Deborah Wolfson, Deborah Grady. I like having, we're attracting Deborahs like crazy. Coach Bob, Ben, Michael and Angela, Jay, and Deborah Grady, CJ, hostess with the mostest. Love you guys. Appreciate you. My lovely wife, Terry. Of course, Matt, and some people are not here anymore. But have a great, great, great Sunday.